Can you believe black, with 2 pawns ready to queen on the next move, is not going to win this game? But if you start by being greedy and taking this pawn, now he's gonna check, the king goes up, and he's gonna queen. And you have no choice but giving the queen you love so much to your friend. He's gonna take back. And now you push. And you think that you pulled the biggest lottery ticket. Because you believe that this pawn is totally unstoppable. And you think you're winning with white. But now he checks. You take the pawn. And he checks again. And you go up the board. And he's gonna take all the pawns just checking you this way. And only now you realize, when you go to this square, that he can check again. And now you're totally losing because he goes to g8 and he controls the square of promotion, and you're totally lost because this pawn is just unstoppable and you're gonna get checkmated. But here I told you that white is not losing this game, but you have to know the tricks. Queen endgames are one of the hardest endgames in chess. But for this, I have a great exercise for you. And it's called the 2 bishops survival hell. I'm gonna put the link in description for you, so you can find this page. The game here is to manage to keep the 2 bishops alive for as long as possible. This improves your vision on a chessboard massively. Do you know what was the biggest problem in the first version that I showed you? Do you remember this rook ended up here, controlling the pawn here? That's the first thing that you have to print in your mind. We have to make sure that this rook doesn't get there. And the way that this rook got to this square is by going like this, and then she Pac-Man the pawns, and then she ended up on this square. And this is how in chess, by some sort of regression, you understand that the best move in this position is queen b8 check. Now the king is forced to go here. And you know what you created? You blocked this column. This rook, compared to the first version, cannot get there. Now you play exactly what you did, but this little difference, just this little check, and forcing a king here changes everything. Because now you can take the pawn. Of course he's gonna check. You go up, and he's gonna queen, and you exchange queens because you have absolutely no choice. Now of course you push this pawn. What I'm showing you today is like 3 puzzles, but in one single position. Because now we start, in a way, puzzle number 2. Because your friend is gonna start giving checks, because obviously he cannot stop this pawn right now. So you take, he gives another check, and now you go here. You wanna make sure to control this square, so the rook can never come here and control this pawn. But the problem is, your friend is just gonna keep checking and checking. You go up and he checks again, and he's gonna check again, and now you come here, and you see the difference compared to the first position, where the king was here, is that the rook at the end of the variation could get to g8, controlling this pawn. Do you understand why we gave a check as a first move with the queen? This is what makes the difference between an amateur and Magnus. Because here, there is absolutely no way to stop this pawn, otherwise you get taken, and you cannot go this way. But here, your friend could play a move like this, h6. This position, maybe he learned in books, could be a draw, thinking when there is a h pawn like this and a rook and the king is here versus a queen, this could be a draw. But now your friend made a massive blunder. There is something you should know here. When the rook is here, controlling this part of the board, if this king is on the other side, which means any of these squares here on the other side of this line, then it would be a draw, because the king can never come and help to checkmate this poor king. But now the king passed this line, and it's a massive difference. So it's a super easy pattern for you to remember. If this king was here just before this line, it would be a draw. The fact that he passed here, this crazy line, this is not a draw anymore. Let me show you. He goes king h7. Now you give a check. And this is a maneuver that I want you to remember with the queen. The king moves, and now this move is the winning move. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna shuffle back and forth with the queen to arrive in a position that I want to show you. Now you're attacking actually the pawn on h6. He defends it. Now you go here, give a check. So you see what you did? You gave a check here, then you come back here to give a check here. He goes back, and now you come here. Look what you did. You went here, 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 and here. This is a second pattern that I want you to have in your mind. And the reason why we do this is because in this kind of situation, when the king is stuck in the corner like this with the rook, you want the queen to control the g8 square. And the reason is that you're gonna bring your king very close. When it's the case, and you start bringing your king to this square, and you have a queen here, you don't want the rook to be able to give a check. Of course, we would just take it. And that's the reason why you put a queen on e6. Let me show you. King h7. Now all you have to do is bring the king, and there won't be a perpetual check. This is the trick. This guy with the queen here, which is the most amazing square for a queen, if the guy had a check like this, when I come closer with my king, look at this. boom, boom. There is no check. And this is the big difference. This is the reason the best place for the queen is here, which means black is forced to push a pawn. Now you go to e5. You're attacking and trying to deliver checkmate on the next move, but he creates a nice zugzwang. A zugzwang, if you don't know, is when your opponent, because of the last move that you played, has only bad moves at his disposal. He has no possible good moves. And here, you're attacking this, and you're attacking this. He can give a check if he wants to. You come back, but he cannot come back. Otherwise, you would just take it. He would try to defend with rook g6. That seems to be the only move. But now, how do you checkmate in 3 moves with white?